Know-It-All. It's Dr. Know-It-All coming to you from Vancouver one last time. I woke up to this morning. In fact, I actually still have my coffee. So anyway, obviously you can tell it's a beautiful day. I'm going to go say hi and have breakfast with Brian White in just a few minutes from my Tesla weekend. So definitely you should sign up and, join, subscribe to his channel, all that good stuff. But anyway, I woke up to this and I was like, well, I probably should do a video on this. This is incredible speculation alert. This came from Gregor Truck. It just appeared on X this morning, Twitter, I was going to say. Anyway, this is a very hot take, but this is obviously Franz von Holzhausen, and this is obviously some sort of model of a vehicle. And there's no indication of where this came from, no proof of anything. I did look, I'm in Photoshop right now, and I kind of zoomed in and I looked at Franz himself, and he does not appear to be photoshopped in. It looks like it's a real photo. So, take that as it is, and I just want to make a note that, if you take this too seriously, there's a good chance that you're going to be wrong, and there's a good chance that this is either faked, or it's just some weird early model of something, or it's a different model, whatever. I'm going to get around to my opinion on exactly what I think this is in a moment. But first of all, of course, the immediate speculation is this the Model 2 vehicle? So if we look at this, and this is, unfortunately, I'm showing you the very edge of this photo. It was not taken well. It cuts off over here, so you can't see the very, very front of the vehicle. But what you can see is the fact that this is a hatchback type of vehicle. You can see two suitcases in the back compartment and two seats. So this appears to be a two-seater vehicle, not a larger vehicle like most Teslas. The other thing that immediately became apparent to me is that even though you're only seeing one wheel here, I would assume there has to be a second wheel over here. So I think this is, if you blow this up, this appears to be made out of, I don't even think it's wood. I think it might be like kind of a heavy cardboard type of stuff where it's put together. And then they just threw a couple of seats on top of it. And these are not even standard Tesla seats as far as I can tell. They look very, very thin. So this is clearly a low-cost type of vehicle. But anyway, so you can see on the front there would be two wheels because there's a width here. But this back part appears to be, it's possible there's two wheels, but they're just squished together, or it's possible that there is one wheel as well. And if I blow this up, let me get over here. At the very edge of the picture, of this picture, is another picture. And these appear to be renderings or drawings of this vehicle, by an artist. And if you look back here, you can see that there's this kind of traditional three-wheeler design or something. Although this is not, actually, no, this is not a rendering of this vehicle because you can see that the shape of it is very different. But anyway, it is some sort of a rendering of what looks like a three-wheel vehicle because it's got this area over here where there's a single wheel that's inside that. And so I don't know what those are. They could be, it's not Aptera. I don't know what exactly those are, but those look definitely like three-wheel vehicles. So anyway, the overall kind of shape of this thing has that sort of brutalist look and feel of a Tesla Cybertruck-ish. I mean, it's more rounded than the Cybertruck, obviously, but it has a little bit of that sort of slightly brutalist feel. The back end of it is very, very hatchbacky, which it seems like that would not be the ideal situation for great aerodynamics, but if this is mostly going to be a city car, which, my goodness, it's really, really small, it only looks like it has room for two people to sit in it, then if that's the case, then we're looking at something that would not have to have very, very high speeds, and so the aerodynamic efficiency of it is less important than just being able to do this. Now, Elon has been very, very explicit about never designing a motorcycle type vehicle, and one of the problems with three-wheeled vehicles is, and even if this is four wheels, if the back two are put together very closely, you're going to have the issue of tippiness for the car. In other words, the center of gravity, it can tip over. The advantage, of course, of having wheels back here, and especially if it's two wheels back here and not one, is that would reduce the amount of tippiness it would have, but also it's potentially possible that the motor itself could fit back here between the two wheels on the back. Usually that's how three-wheelers work. They usually have the motor in the back and the steering is in the front. Obviously, you can tell this is an incredibly early prototype type of model or something, right? This is not something that it has been designed in any type of material where you could build the vehicle. There's also, interestingly enough, enough if, Franz is here saying like, well, okay, this is how tall you are. You must be this tall to ride this ride. I think so. But I think he's basically saying like, you could get into this vehicle. There is enough headroom to get into this vehicle. You could sit down. It's unclear whether it's designed even to take human weight. I almost kind of doubt it. It looks like it's not. But you can also see here that, at least in this very, very early sketched out prototype, that they don't have really, the dash and everything does not look like it's designed for a steering wheel and stuff. It looks like very much designed for passenger comfort. There's actually quite a bit of room. So you don't have a huge amount of headroom here, but you do have a lot of leg room with a front, sort of place to stick your feet. So, basic sort of car stuff. And then two pieces of luggage. So this appears to be a car, like an Uber type of car, where, remember, you don't have to have an Uber driver, so you can fit 2 people into that vehicle and it will drive you to the airport. So you have 2 people plus 2 bags, go to the airport. Is that enough space for most people? I don't know. I mean, all the Uber stuff I've been doing in Vancouver has been just me and the driver. So yeah, it would be perfectly fine. I would just need a space for me. And if I needed a suitcase, I'd throw it in the back or something. So anyway, the hatchback could be very, very useful. Does not look like it has enough. Oh, I actually see, wait a second. Sorry, I'm doing this, live. So we're like, okay, we're seeing this. But it looks like there's some sort of a camo backpack here too. So it's actually bigger than I thought. So we've got 2 full-size suitcases, or at least airplane overhead bin size suitcases, and then enough room for maybe some backpacks and things like that as well. So there's a reasonable amount of room here, but is it big enough to be used for a city type of car? Yes, it is. At low speeds, is the third wheel, or at least the shrunk down wheel, a reasonable design? Yes, it is, because again, the cars, especially if it's robot driven, is not going to do anything crazy. It's going to know its parameters and it's going to not make a turn that's too crazy or something like that. So all of that seems like fairly reasonable. Is this the car for the United States, Canada, the kind of Western world or something? I don't really believe so. Again, this is almost definitely, who knows when this picture was taken, could have been 5 years ago for all we know. I don't think so, because actually Franz is a little more gray now than he used to be, so it's got to be relatively recent. But it's a very prototype, very thinking about it type of car. It's something that they can knock together in a day or two and kind of like just put it together and go like, yeah, what do you think, Elon? What do you think this looks like? Again, assuming that this is real in the first place. It's also potentially possible. I'm looking around trying to figure out where this might be. I guess Texas would be the place at this point. There's also another vehicle over here, which I don't believe we can see enough of to get any sort of real sense here. But yeah, I mean, what is that? That looks like a traditional gas car, honestly. The sort of front end, I don't know, weird. Anyway, so all of this kind of indicates to me that this is not probably a Western market sort of vehicle. This would be a vehicle that they might use in a place like India, Malaysia, Thailand, etc., places where they have a lot of 3-wheeled vehicles already. That seems like that would be the place that this car would really, really shine, where you have the very inexpensive cars. So, of course, the immediate speculation was, is this the Model 2, the next generation vehicle? In my mind, it's not the Model 2, the next generation vehicle. What it is a next gen vehicle, or potentially the Far Eastern version of the next gen vehicle. So the reason why I'm saying that is because I think if you look at this vehicle, selling this for $25,000 actually, in this case, almost seems a little excessive. Like, I think that they could get away with selling this car for probably the teens, $15,000, $18,000, again, depending on what it's made of. Is it going to be stainless steel or something? Is it going to be painted? There's a lot of questions, but this actually appears to be even beyond that. So my personal speculation is that this is not the next gen vehicle. This is actually the next gen vehicle, and or the version that they're making for like an Indian market or something along those lines, where you want the very, very low cost, very compact vehicle. This appears to be too small, honestly. I don't think they would have, no, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe if it's a robo-taxi and it's driving around New York or San Francisco or something, and it's going very slowly, relatively speaking, maybe 45, 50 miles an hour max, just driving back and forth from the airport or something and going on the highway for a little while, but not all that much, then maybe people would find this acceptable in the US if they're just riding in it. I don't think people would purchase this car in the United States or Canada for that matter, since I'm in Canada right now. But I do think that there is a market for this car, and it's a very, very large market. And, Tesla, there's been lots and lots of rumors of Tesla and having dealings with India, obviously, and potentially putting in a factory there. Maybe this is a car that they would pitch to the Indian market. They would say like, hey, look at this. This is a pretty cool shape for you guys. It's a nice size car. You can fit a decent amount of luggage in there. You can have 2 people, very spacious for 2 people, honestly, you know, versus a lot of those other types of cars that are that cost. So that, in that sense, it could make a lot of sense to have a vehicle like that. So anyway, first of all, again, just to reiterate, highly speculative, don't know where this picture came from, who knows. It's number 2, is this the $25,000 Tesla? I do not believe so, because I think it's not that shape. I think a $25,000 Tesla would be bigger than this, and we'll have 2 full rows to be able to seat 4 people, not just 2 people. Again, my opinion about that, and again, at least for the Western market, but could this be the next gen vehicle? So instead of the Model 2, the Model 1, I don't know, right? Whatever the sequencing is for this thing. Could it be that? Yes, it absolutely could be that. It could be that next gen vehicle that's designed for, you know, India is the one. It's just got so many people, and the people need a car that's inexpensive, because it's just, even a $25,000 car is too much money for a lot of people who live in India. So, you know, so designing a car like this would make a lot of sense for a market like that. So anyway, total speculation. If I get a thing from Tesla that's like, take this video down, I'll be like, oh gosh, I guess it was more real than I thought. So again, could be completely fake, could be photoshopped, could be something where they were like, look how bad this design is, right? And Franz is going like, man, this design is terrible. You know, whatever it is. So we don't know anything of the circumstances, but it is just a fascinating picture, and it's really interesting to get an insight into that kind of design mind. And especially after I did the video about Elon, the Walter Isaacson one, you can catch that up here if you're interested. And I'll put it at the end of the video as well. But when you see that Walter Isaacson story about the design of the Robotaxi versus the one with the steering wheels, and you see how, you know, Elon and Franz and team were kind of wrestling with how to make this thing. This is a really interesting other tidbit of information to that whole thing. So anyway, yeah, definitely let me know what you all think about this. In the meantime, while you're down there, please do like the video, think about subscribing to the channel, all of that good stuff. And I will be traveling back home very, very late today and getting back Monday morning. But anyway, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.